Hey everybody, what is going on? Serial11Jav here, and today I'm playing Entropia Universe. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to be doing, we're going to be talking about how to make money mining, or specifically a new area I found where I am bringing in some really good profit. Just mining, right? So I've run maybe a couple thousand PEDs through this area, and it seems like I've got something consistent. I've got something that's giving me good returns, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing. So I thought maybe I could just bring you guys into the fold, let you guys know what's going on. And I don't think I'm actually going to drop this location because I think I'm going to be using it more myself. But if you're a member on my YouTube, I will post it there so all you guys who pay for that membership can see it. It's just a little bit of like an extra thing, I guess, but for most of you guys, this probably isn't even going to apply to you, so you're not even really going to care about that. Anyways, here it is, right? So I found this area, and I've already been doing this run. I actually had like a 30-minute video recorded, and then my laptop died, and I was like, oh shit, I'm out of luck. So I couldn't post that video because it just got corrupted, and that's all gone, sadly. But I'm just picking it up right where I left off, and I'm gonna just say everything all over again, and I'm gonna mine. And obviously, this isn't gonna be the longest run because I've already gotten a lot of this stuff. So notable things on this run is there was one Ignesium ingot, or Ignesium global. So I got 98.7 PEDs of Ignesium ore, and this ore is special. You want to know why it's special? Because it's worth 140%. That is huge. 140% markup is crazy. And that it was a perfect run for this video. And I'm really like upset that I lost the footage because it just shows like how valuable areas like this are, right? So here's what happened. I was just going around sort of Entropia Universe. I was mining, and some of you guys, by the way, you're going to be able to recognize what this area is. If you do, feel free to use it. But yeah, basically, I was mining this area, okay, and right now, I'm using a level 5 amplifier, and I'm on a land area, okay, so land area takes 4% taxes. The level 5 amplifier is the lowest markup amplifier, which means it has a 3.5% markup. We're going to get into why I'm doing all that later, but basically, yeah, I found two sort of high-level ores and ingots, or ores and end matters. So you've got angelic grit, which is worth about 150%, 160% it looks like, but when it's refined it's worth about 150, 140, and ignesium, which refined is worth about 140. Okay, so that's really, because these do make up a decent majority, or decent minority, I guess would be the correct phrasing, decent minority of the loot. It actually bumps the average loot up quite a bit, the average markup percent of the loot up quite a bit. And then another thing that this area has is alliances, or however you say it, liquid. And the average depth, this is sort of 886 meters, but basically in this area you're looking at an average depth of 700 to 1,000 meters. And the reason that was so important to me, the average depth, for all these good things, right? Because if you've got a lower level finder, you're going to find a lot of list and oil out here, and then it's not worth doing this method because you're not going to be able to find the good stuff. You want to be able to find the good stuff, otherwise it's not really worth doing. But you can see right here, I've got a TerraMaster 4. It's average search depth with my mining finder depth enhancers, which haven't even broken yet. I have no idea why. I've gone through I've used them quite a bit, and they haven't even come, like, none of them have broken. It's crazy. But yeah, my average search depth is 796.5 meters, which means this is perfect when you're going between 700 and 1,000. If I could hit 850, that would probably be the best case scenario. Maybe if I go deeper, I'm going to find some rarer stuff, so there's always that possibility. But I like where I'm at because I'm hitting like the ores and end matter that I'm really looking for, okay? Those specifically anytime I find some ignesium or I find some angelic grit, that's like bingo, like we've got it. That's huge, okay? Now the alliances gel, that's also pretty big because that has a pretty decent markup itself, running about 120 to 123, 24%. So if you run the math on this, basically what's going to happen is your average markup, because of sort of these high level things, and even this stuff, right? Like even when I loot some copper, if you take a look at the copper, let's pop that open here. That still is about 105% markup. If you're only looting like list and oil, your average markup is going to be about 100, well, it's 102% roughly. I'm not finding much oil or list here. I'm going sort of deeper than those claims, which is really good because you don't want to find a lot of oil and list when you've got an amplifier that costs 103.5% markup. You want to find ores and end matter above that 103.5% markup. And when you're on a land area, that there's an additional tax. There's that 4% tax that you want to account for. So you want to always sort of have that in your head. By the way, let's just check how much is left on this amplifier while we're talking about it, so I know roughly how long I have to chit chat with everybody. All right, 20 PEDs. So this amplifier decays about 4 PEDs a drop, exactly 4 PEDs a drop, which means I've got 5 more drops left. Also, it means that this run in total is going to cost me 275 PEDs. With this Ignisium Global, I'm definitely going to be in the profit here. And what I found overall is if you discount this global, my average loot is running about 200. Well, I guess, yeah, let's just go back to the beginning and get into everything. So the way this works is I was finding a lot of really sort of high-level ores and end matter, really high markup ores and end matter. And when I saw that, I realized that if I amped up, I could just increase the size of those claims. This is something that sort of every miner knows. It's no big deal. It's just everybody does this. I'm just going through my thought process. So those of you guys looking to make a profit when you're mining can sort of do the same thing and figure this out for yourselves. But yeah, basically I saw some high level markups, some high level ores like this Teradite stone. That's going to be bringing in about 119%. Cave sap is worth, I think that's actually pretty high. That's like 140. Yeah, 140. So a lot of high level stuff, and even the low level stuff like here you've got Belk. That's coming in 114%. Binary fluid used to be high markup, but it's not anymore. Same with Adamast stone. And because of that, that's why I'm using an amplifier. So back in the day, I found a really good area that was dropping a lot of Adamast stone. I started dropping there. I started just going hard on it. I started pulling up a lot of the stuff. I was putting it in my storage. I was waiting until I got a big amount and then I could sell it. And what happened is because I'm not an everyday player, I just come in, mine when I want to. It turned out that by the time I had enough of the stuff, I'd lost about 20 to 30% on the markup. And now all of a sudden the runs that were profitable were no longer profitable because of that. So the solution to this, the easy solution to this is you need to get more of these ores and end matter. And if you're only going to be running an area like this area that I'm running, it's about 1 grid. And that seems to be where all the sweet stuff, the good stuff is located, not sweet stuff, the end matter, but actual like good loot. That's where it's all located, right? And the name of the game here is just to get as big of a claim as you can. So even if you have unlimited time, you still can only mine these claims once. So whenever you find something that's high markup in a high markup area, you want to get as much of that stuff as possible for as cheap as possible. So I went to the auction. I used the level 5 amplifier because the level 5 amplifier is 103% markup, right? 103.5% markup. Now, it is a slight bit reckless because if I have a bad run or two, it could really hurt. And generally, like the higher level the amplifier, the more likely you want to just, oh, there we go, binary fluid. And you can see the depth there, right there, 773. Like this depth is spot on with what I was telling you guys. But basically, what was I saying? Yeah, with the amplifiers, it is a little bit reckless to go out with an amplifier like this. But when I see a markup like this, right? And when I ran this area a few times without amplifiers, I was finding generally the markup of my loot was running about 120 to 125%. Right, and again, you subtract that 4% land tax from that, about 120% average if we just pull that tax out, right? The average returns, and again, the returns then, that's calculated for because of, actually, the returns are calculated because of the tax, right? But the average return was about 90 to 95%. The average markup was about an extra 100, well, the average markup was about 120%. Do the math on that, there's a good bit of wiggle room, about 10 to 15% of profit, right? And because that was the average, that's really good. And that's the average without any globals or anything like this. This is actually the first global I found here. In this area, I found a tower. Like, there's literally, I didn't find it, but I was running by and I saw some player had found a tower here, and I was like, oh man. Anytime you see a tower, that means it's a good area because those are super claims. Those are like thousands of PEDs, and usually those are like big boy miners that find it, right? Those are the guys who know what they're doing. So anytime you see a tower, it means that the area is probably pretty good. But yeah, I saw the tower there and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So someone else probably has had like a really good experience on this area. And then, I kept dropping the probes. I came back here day after day because generally these claims do take a few days to restock. So you only want to what is going on here? All right, there we go. You only want to mine in these areas once every, usually 24 hours is good. Personally, I like to go a little bit longer than that because I just don't log in that often. So for me, usually it's once every 2 to 3 days. But yeah, basically once every 2 to 3 days, I was logging in and just finding some awesome loot here. And the markup seemed to be holding steady. The depth was perfect for the finder I had. Everything, sort of all the boxes were checked off, and I liked it. At that point, I went ahead and I dropped the 207 PEDs to buy that amplifier, that level 5 amplifier. I bought it simply because it was the cheapest markup amplifier on the market. And because I was confident in what I found, I thought it was worthwhile, right? The level 5 is a little bit higher. It means you're taking a little bit more risk. But because I'd run this place a good deal, I knew the loot was going to be pretty stable. It was going to be pretty good. And because of that, I had some confidence in it. And that confidence gave me the ability to say, you know what, we're just going to go a little bit bigger than usual. We're going to spend a little bit more than usual. And we're gonna go for it. So yeah, I started dropping my probes, started doing my thing. Ooh, there we go. Ignesium stone, we got an average claim right there. And you can see that's a big one. Anytime I get Ignesium or Angelic Grit, that's an extra 40% on top, okay? And 901 meters depth. It's right in that depth range I'm looking for. What was I saying? Yeah, so I put the amp on, and it was just making these claims bigger, right? So this Ignesium stone claim that I would have gotten before, it might have been 1.5 PEDs worth of stone. Now I'm getting 6 PEDs worth. Okay, my amp's putting it's amping up the claim. And because that claim has a 40% markup, it's just so worth it to do. It's like, it doesn't make sense not to. It's a no-brainer, right? It's like anytime you drop probes and you can say to yourself, like, hey, this is huge. Like, anytime you can say to yourself, like, you're on average, you're going to get more markup back than the markup of the amplifier that you're buying. And the area has decent returns, right? So if you go to Club Never Die, the returns are very spotty, okay? If you amp up, you're going to find a big claim. You're probably going to get a HOF or a global if you're using a level 5 amplifier, but you might find nothing. Spotty claims, high loots. Riskier, right? Here, for example, the claims aren't like spotty. They're pretty consistent, and the return's pretty consistent, which means at this point, all I'm targeting is markup. So I know my markup, I know my sort of where I've got to go, and I don't want to take a bigger risk. Like, I don't want to use a level 7 amplifier if it's 110%, because now I don't have that much clearance. There's more chance I'll lose PEDs. So yeah, I just bought the cheapest amplifier that I could find on the market, went out, started running it, and I haven't looked back. Like, I've just been getting claim after claim after claim. It's so crazy. Oh, we got some more Alliances Liquid. That's awesome. But yeah, it's just been claim after claim after claim. All of them are like really good claims. You're getting like my average are claims like this: a level 6, level 7 claim. It's giving me a pretty consistent return. Again, I'm still going to lose some PEDs to Mind Arc. I am paying some PEDs to Land Area, but because these resources are so sought after, it's 110% worth it. And because I can sell them right away, I don't have to worry about the value of the resource dropping, and that's like the perfect reason to amp up too, right? If you can amp up, that means that you're going to find all these claims. Like, you can only run this at Land Area once a day, right? And if you amp up those claims, you're more likely to find 50 plus PEDs worth. And if you find 50 plus PEDs worth of claims, what that means is that you can put it on auction and actually make some pretty good money on it. So yeah, I basically put everything together. I liked what I was seeing. I decided I was going to just take the plunge. I bought the amp, went out, started doing runs. I've run through a couple thousand PEDs here, and it is stellar, honestly. It's just crazy. Like, the returns are fairly consistent, and it's been fun. It's been a good area. Like, I've been able to skill myself up quite a bit. Sorry, just drinking there. Because before, basically what was happening is when I do a run, I'd be spending maybe 5 to 10 USD or 50 to 100 PEDs. Now all of a sudden when I do a run, I'm spending... Oh, actually I don't want to do that. I want to die. I'd rather die. Let's unequip everything. Now when I do a run, basically I'd rather just get as much money into it as possible so I can get as much markup out of it as possible, make my profits, and then walk away happy. So there we go. We want to equip that stuff. Now we're going to die. Little serial overdrive here running. And I'm dead. That's fine. I want to go back to the auction anyways. Total everything up for you guys. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm droning on a lot, but I feel like this is helpful for people because a lot of people always want to see like, hey, when you're making a profit, what does it look like? And that's what it looks like. It looks like finding a good area in mining, at least. When you're making a profit mining, that's what it looks like. You find a good area that has good returns, and then you take those returns and you just keep, you just amplify them. And that's what I did right here. I'm losing some money to Mindark. I'm losing some money to the land area, but I'm making it all back from crafters who are paying a markup. So what we're going to do here, this was a global, okay? So I'm not going to count this in the TT because I always like to leave globals out. And one of the things when I do runs like this, when I know on average I can make 5 to 10% or like a little bit, my game plan is always just to stay in until you get that big hit, right? Stay in for the globals, the Hoffs, because those are where you're going to get your profit, those really good runs. And on average, all those other runs are just going to sort of keep you sort of in the game. It's going to keep you playing, right? It's going to keep your PED card about the same size. So that's sort of the name of the game, what I'm doing here. I'm trying to keep my PED card the same size while consistently mining, dropping probes, getting levels, everything like that. So let's go ahead and throw this in. So again, this is just the Alliances gel. You can see 36 PEDs of that. And again, that's selling at 120%. So that's pretty damn good. You see here we've got this angelic flakes. That's an extra 10 PEDs right on top of that. Oil, not worth much. List, not worth much. Let's just throw those in. You can see those are low claims, right? Adamast ingot. That's an interesting one because here, if you look at it, it's only worth about 103.17% or 103.8. So probably on this, I'm going to get just my amplifier markup back, and that's about it. But that did make up a consistent amount of the claim. That's not quite what I'd like to see, but because I've got a lot of Alice and Angelic Grit and everything like that, it sort of makes up for it. And again, Cave Sap over here. This one's going to make a big, putty. That's what Cave Sap turns into. It's going to make a big dent because that's 150%. And you are probably going to find about 5 to 10 PEDs per 300 or 275 PD run here. So I'm going to throw that in. Here you got some Nicerium or whatever you call that, 105%. That's dragging down the average, but 105% isn't too bad because I'm still making something on this. Terrandite, you're going to find a lot of that in this area, and that's 116%. Again, I think personally, on a run like this, anything above 110%, I'm probably going to be making money off the markup. And if I can make, I'm going to be making money off the markup, and that's including the fact that basically I'm paying 4% out to the land area, I'm paying about 5% out to Mindark, and I'm losing another 3% on that amp. So if you just run the numbers roughly, anything above 10 is pretty good. Anything above 15, you're making a profit on. So I'm making a profit on this. And again, you're going to see a lot of these things that don't have too much markup. Ooh, Erdorium Stone, that's actually a lot higher than I thought, 129%. So again, look at this. When I keep running through these, you guys probably if you're not paying attention, you're not paying attention. But if you look at this, these markups are pretty high, 114%. These are old school mining markups. And this is why mining used to be so profitable back in the day. Because you wouldn't find much stuff like copper where it's only 105%. A lot of the stuff you could find if you knew where to look, you'd be looking at 115, 120, 140% return, markup. And that's, you could lose 40% in a run if your average markup's 140% and still walk away happy. On this, my average markup's about 20%, but that's still pretty damn good for Entropia in this day and age. Binary energy, this is a weird one because this used to be worth a lot more, I thought. And now it's just 104%. I used to get so excited when I found it until I realized it was not worth what it used to be worth. So here we've got Ares Powder. That's 104% again. So this one, not too psyched about that, but it is what it is. We dump all this stuff in. We're sitting at 237 PDs. So we're not including this Ignesium. Again, remember I did find some Ignesium here, and that was that global makes this run. We throw this in. Boom, 336 PDs. We're walking away with over 50 PDs in markup profit. But on average, my loot's going to look just a little bit better than this. I'm probably going to be sitting about 240, 250. But I've got my handy calculator here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just throw some markups on the high markup stuff and show you guys where this actually is coming out, okay? So let's take something like the Alliance's Ink Gel. That's about 30 PDs. Let's multiply that by 0.2. You're going to get 6 PDs returned for that, right? We do have some more here, so it's 5. We're not going to even count that. Let's take some Ignesium. Okay, that's 6.3 PEDs. So we're going to multiply that, I think, by 0.4. So now we're at 8.5 PEDs returned total, okay? Putty, that's 7.02. We get about 50% markup or extra on that. So let's add 0.35, 3.5 to it. So we're already at 11.9 PEDs in return, okay? Adamus, we're not going to count that. We're not going to, actually this one we should count because this is going to probably get me about 20% return. So let's do that. I'm literally just doing this on my phone right here just to tell you guys where we're at. So now we're at 13.82. Angelic Flakes, I think these, what are these going to do? Okay, so this will probably return about 50% markup. So this is going to be an extra 10 PEDs, right? So we're already at 23 PEDs. Okay, so 23 PEDs of extra markup on this. Let's see, is there anything else significant that I want to really like make sure we hit? Like Cerium, I don't think that's worth counting. We'll count the Adamast, I guess, because that is like a little bit of extra markup right here. So that's 3.17%. So what we're going to do is we'll just do times 3%. So we're at 25 PDs returned right now. I'm trying to think if this is worth anything. Terrandite, let's add that. So we're 26. We added that. We added this. It's copper. Copper's only worth 5. But yeah, you guys can sort of see. Oh, Belk. That's one I want to include. 8.6. I might have counted that already. Anyways. Basically, we're sitting at about 26.52 PDs returned, right? So we add that to, let's say, 240 that we looted. We're sitting at 266. Okay, so off this run, just based on this 266, I'd probably be losing what, 9 PEDs on that. So that's not too bad, right? Because we're assuming, it'd be 266. Sorry about this, folks. So I've got 282 average spend with the amp markup and everything like that. And we subtract that 266 from it. We're sitting about 16 PEDs lost, okay? Then you throw in something like this. And the fact is, this was actually a run that was pretty light on Ignesium. Usually I'm going to find about 20 to 30 PDs of Ignesium, and yeah, about maybe like 10 to 20 PDs of Angelic Flakes. So Ignesium was like way down from what I normally find, and I did get this huge global. So like if you count that in there, that's about, that thing alone is about 40 PDs of markup, okay? So all told, when you throw this in, the markup of this run, I've got about 400 PDs I made off this run. This run literally covers 2 more runs. So yeah, like, I don't know. Hopefully this gives you guys an idea of the power of markup, because basically, even if we take this global away, I'm losing 16 PEDs, and if you can do that like a number of times, you're always gonna come out ahead, right? Because like, I don't know. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm like saying this stuff, and I'm thinking to myself like, is this making sense? And I hope it is. Sorry, taking a drink. When I do videos like this, it's more of a brain dump than like a educated like study or anything like that. But I have done some like looking into this, and I really really liked it. I really liked the area, and I really thought it was worth it. And that's hopefully that just gives you guys an idea how you make a profit mining. You know, you go out, you find some high markup areas, and then when you find those high markup areas, you just go to the auctioneer. Go to items. This is only for mining, by the way. Go to tools. Let's do that. And I just go to the amplifiers. I just sort by buyout, right? Because the cheaper the buyout, the better. Again, this is like level 13, 210%. Don't mess around with that stuff. Don't mess around with these high markup stuff. Just go low. High markup, that's if you want to hit a global. This, oh, it was 103% I'm paying. This stuff, right? You just drop 206 PDs. You get a level 5 amplifier. That's so cheap. And if you can find an area that consistently returns, just do this all day, every day, right? Like, because there's so many level 5 amplifiers, it's crazy. If you jump up to some of these lower level stuff, like a level 3 or whatever, you're paying more markup. You're paying more markup because there's less risk. With a level 5, if you go out mining with that all the time, you're going to end up losing a lot. And those losses are going to add up way quicker. If, however, you find a good area and you go out with a level 5 amplifier, all your wins are going to add up a lot more and a lot faster. And that's what I've been trying to do, and so far I've been pretty successful. Honestly, just running through this area over the past month or so, and I'm not logging in every day. I'm logging in every couple days. I've probably made 200, 300 PDs. This run alone probably brings me up to about 500 PDs of total profit just running this area and having fun with it. And that's significant. That's extremely significant. And I'm sure if you're a pro miner and you have a lot more areas down, you can do a lot better. And if you run these things, what I do, I just run out with an amplifier, drop my probes, and then I'm just off, right? If I actually ran in a grid, I could probably come out with 2 amplifiers, run a grid pattern. I'd probably walk away with being able to double my profits, which means I'd be pulling in about 1,000 PDs a month mining this area, as long as the markup keeps up. And the name of the goal here is just to get big amounts, right? When you have this Ignisium, 100 PDs worth of that, boom, that's going on auction. Putty, only 7 PDs of this, but since it is 50% markup, I might just dump that in auction. Same with the Angelic Flakes, something like this, Adamas Stone. I've got 54 PDs of that. I'm good with this. With Teradite, I put that in storage, and as long as I run these runs frequently, I'm going to be able to just combine it and sell it probably before the week's over. And again, it's all about just flipping that inventory over as fast as possible, and that's what the amplifier really does help with. Because you find a good area, you can run it once a day. The only thing you can't increase the amount of times you run it because your results are going to go down. What you can do though is you can increase the amount of PEDs that you're getting and that you're spending every time you run it, so that your loot is bigger and you can walk away with more. If I could find a level 13 amplifier that was with a markup of 103%, you can bet I'd be going out there with that. But that doesn't exist, so I've just been doing the level 5 amplifiers because they're so cheap. I don't know why they're so cheap. Obviously they're cheaper to make and stuff like that, but they're such a good deal when you find areas like this. I just love doing it, and I thought I'd share with you guys. So if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask them down below. But hopefully this helps you guys get an idea just for how these mining runs work and how miners are going out there and actually making a profit. I'm not a super high level miner. The finder I'm using is super accessible to most people, and it's something that any of you guys can do. It's hard to find these areas, and it really does take a lot of searching. That's why I'm not just giving this away in the video. Obviously, you guys see the video, you see where I'm at. You guys can probably figure this out for yourself, but that's why I'm not just giving it away in this video, because then I feel like everybody would go there, and a lot of you guys wouldn't be happy. You've got to go there with a finder that's deep enough. If your finder can only do 200, 300 meters, you're not going to have the same results. You're not going to find the same ores. Even if you walk away with the same loot, TT value-wise, you're not going to walk away with the same loot markup-wise. And the markup is what makes it happen. The markup is what makes it worth it. So just keep that in mind if you do know where I'm at. Make sure that you can come out here and actually do good with it. And find the areas for yourself. Go out with your mining finders and find some high markup stuff. And once you find it, once you can consistently get that high markup, I was finding Ignisium and Angelic Grit for many runs in a row before I said, Serial, we've got something here. We need to come out here with a better amp. And then I did it once, and then I looked at the results, did it again, looked at the results, and every time I was coming back with 2 PEDs lost, 10 PEDs gained, 10 PEDs lost, 20 PEDs gained, just making a little bit, losing a little bit, and then it's at the end of the day, it's wow, this is working out. And yeah, I just kept doing it, kept making it happen, and it worked out for me. So hopefully it'll work out for you guys. Anyways, this video ran a little bit long. I did not plan on making it go this long, but it was a good talk. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. My voice is getting tired from talking about it, because I already literally did a 15-20 minute video before this that my computer crashed and it deleted it. So that was not the best experience, but it happens. And anyways, I'm going to end this video before this one gets deleted too, and I just go nuts and destroy everything. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Sorry I can't drop the location, but those of you guys who are members, you'll get the location. Those of you guys who aren't, well, you know how to get it. I don't know if it's worth. I don't know if it's worth the couple bucks that you'd have to pay to become a Serial Overdrive member on YouTube. you'll get a cool little thing next to your name too when you comment on my videos. So if you do like get the membership, drop a comment so I can see those like Serial Overdrive icons and know that this video worked. But yeah, I promise I'll drop the chords and then you guys can go nuts with it, and hopefully you'll have the same results as me. But again, remember the finder that you need. Remember the loot that I'm seeing and everything like that. Make sure you're prepared to come out here. And yeah, hopefully you like the video. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, folks. So yeah, until next time, peace.